What's the story, guys? Welcome to another episode of What Happens Here podcast. Today is proudly sponsored by Urban Performance Labs. They're a company out of Australia, and we're so happy to be affiliated with these guys. When it comes to pre-workout or any kind of that, let me actually, with the magic of television, let me pop a few of the products up on. So we got 1, 2, the Ultra Test. We got the Omega Fish Oil. We got the B12 drops, and of course the Master Series creatine. Now listen, guys, if you want to know anything about these amazing products, all you have to do is go onto their website, which is urbanperformancelabs.com.au. Check it all out. Tell them Marcus sent you. They've also got some really cool merchandise that they're coming out with, so I want to talk to you a little bit about that. Now, first of all, this bag that we've got here, this Urban Performance Labs. Now, you can get your country flag on that in any size, but then if you wanted to get a little bit more, you wanted to help me out, then just get one of these knapsacks. Where are they? There we go. The What Happens Here podcast knapsack. Looks pretty cool. I like it. Thanks, Ian. Oh, yeah, we got the T-shirts, we got hats, I'll tell you what, we got everything. So have a look at it, check it out. If you want to help the cause of the What Happens Here podcast, go grab yourself something. How can we forget MMA Uncensored, one of the top mixed martial arts sites on the internet? You can catch them out on Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube, all the social media platforms. And of course, as it is fight week, today's episode is proudly fueled by...
In Ireland, the highest form of compliment in any pub is an insult. So I'm considered quite complimentary. Proper number 12, Irish whiskey.
Thanks for joining us on the podcast. This is Marcus Deegan, shooting all the way from Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. Thanks for joining us once again for the What Happens Here podcast. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, if you're listening to us on YouTube, thanks very much for joining us again. And of course, we're on all social media platforms. It's great to be here. It's fight week. It's a very, very exciting week. I've got another amazing guest in the house today. Warriors. Today is about Warriors. Another one that fights out of the best mixed martial arts organization in the world, the UFC. He's a Bantamweight Sparta, hailing out of Michigan. I love the way that this guy fights. I've been a big fan of him for a while. That move forward attitude, don't take any shit. 19 wins. Oh, Lito, don't take it from me. Check this out.
Insanity at its finest. Firestarter, riot maker, moon-stricken, animal in need, bad seed, untamable beast.
Everybody around me always think they know what's going on inside my mind. Think I'm Mr. Nice Guy all the time. How they say on diary, you think you know, but you have no idea.
From your hole, get filthy, must make more dough. We will be shaking your flow. Come against me, that's a no-no. No, 'cause I'm a beast.
I can smell your woman's Rosie Punani on the dance floor all the way in VIP. I'm a rapper, I can snatch her, and she will leave with me because I'm a snatcher. Now everybody move, everybody bounce. Whoever the Nina choose, we about to pound.
Welcome to the podcast, UFC Bantamweight, Cody Stamann. What's up, brother?
Good to be here, man.
Welcome to the show.
I'm excited.
You're in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
So you're just up the road.
Yeah.
Nice.
I literally live 5 minutes away.
So you're just saying you're just up at the Performance Institute.
Yeah, just a couple miles down the road, the PI. Just finished a pretty brutal workout. Probably one of the last ones of the fight camp. Honestly, I've been hitting it hard for like the last 6 weeks. So it's time to relax and just get this diet under control and make weight, kick someone's ass.
Is that the hardest part about when you're getting ready for a fight, is the dieting?
Oh, God, yeah.
Because we love our food, right? We want to eat shit, we want to eat junk, and trying to get past that in the mind has got to be really tough.
Yeah, I mean, the discipline of the diet is definitely the hardest part for me personally, just because I'm a big dude at 135. You know, I'm not one of those guys that's walking around 10 pounds over. I mean, I could be 170 pounds outside of camp. So the diet is everything. You know what I mean? Like for me, the hardest fight for me is making weight.
That's the hardest part.
The scale is enemy number one. You know what I mean? I always tell people I don't get paid to fight. I get paid to make weight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And that's the reality of it.
And there's such a science to making weight. Do you have a great team around you that knows all the best ways to get that done safely and without you getting affected too much?
Yeah. I mean, so I was doing it really well before I came to the PI. You know what I mean? I had some really smart people help me out. And I've always been very disciplined as an athlete. You have to be at this level, right? I mean,
Right.
Everybody's working hard. Everyone's doing all the right things. So you're always trying to get that edge. But then I went to the PI, and there's just so much there to learn. I mean, it's such a great resource for us to use. And those guys really care. They care about the athletes. They want to see you do well. They want to see you perform at your best. I mean, it's a great place, and it's full of a lot of great people that really take good care of us. I mean, it's a blessing for me. I mean, it's why I moved to Las Vegas, is because of the
And what a
PI.
facility. I mean, it's state of the art. There's nothing like it in the entire world. And I suppose if you're going to be a mixed martial artist, especially for fighting for the UFC, do you think you really have to be here in Vegas to take full advantage of this facility, like you said?
No, I don't think you have to be, but I mean, I think everybody at every level stops into the PI eventually. You know what I mean? Whether it's because of an injury, whether it's because of you want to get the diagnostic test, you want to know where you're at.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to it. You want to do sports psychology, you want to do all these things. I mean, it's all under one roof.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when you move here, you know, like if you live somewhere else, let's say in Michigan, I have to go someplace for my physical therapy. I have to go to another place for my strength conditioning. I have to go another place to consult with a nutritionist. Right. A lot of money, a lot of BS, a lot of traveling around. But here, I show up at the PI. Everything's done. These guys communicate with each other. You know what I mean? The nutritionist, they're talking to they're talking to the physical therapist. The physical therapists are talking to the strength conditioning coaches. Hey, we should be doing this. We should be doing that. And like the combination of all these people working together is what makes it so great. You know what I mean? Because normally it's not like that. It's not this big cohesive unit of people that sit down and have meetings and talk about you as an athlete and how they're going to make you perform better, or, you know what I mean? Like what your weight is. You know, I mean, literally, like when my weight's good, I literally get like, "Hey, good job on the weight" from like 8 different people. I'm like, you guys talking about me when I'm not around? And like, yeah, they are. Yeah. They're literally having a meeting. They're sitting down with a spreadsheet of what my weight was 6 weeks out, 4 weeks out, 2 weeks out, and they're communicating and like how they're going to structure my workouts coming up and how they're going to structure my nutrition and. Wow. You know, am I doing my physical therapy like I'm supposed to? You know what I mean? And they're holding me accountable. So, I mean, it's a complete game changer. I've never been, you know, I'm from Michigan. You know, there's not a lot of great athletes from, MMA athletes from Michigan. I think there's 2 of us in the UFC right now. So it's like the difference between like doing it all on your own and kind of doing it that raw way, like where you're training in a garage. And, you know, that's how I came up, you know. Like,
and it's good to learn that way, right? It's good to come that way first and then step into this environment.
You become a dog, you know what I mean? You become a dog. You know what I mean? You train in nasty places for years and years and years, and no one gives a shit about you. And then, you know, you start winning and you just keep, you know, your nose on the grindstone. You battle through injuries. You don't really know what the hell you're doing. You got no clue. And you come to the PI, and these guys got it all figured out. You know what I mean? These are doctors. These are experts in their field.
Yep. And
it just changes everything. You know what I mean? It kind of elevates everything you do. So it's a cool experience.
I was talking to Roman. I had Roman Foman on the show. He works up there, and I'm actually talking to Heather Linden next week.
Oh,
and,
cool.
And I know every time I mention her name, everyone just says how amazing Heather is. So I'm really looking forward to it. Now, she's helped you out in the past. You had a back injury. Was it your back that you hurt?
Back injury, yeah. So
what did you actually do?
I slipped a disc in my back, and dude, painful stuff. Stuff. Dude, I couldn't move. I literally couldn't get out of bed. Yep. I mean, for like a week, and I was like limping and hobbling into the PI, and I would get there, and Heather would work on me, and like, you know, obviously any injury takes time. You know what I mean? But like the time it takes Heather to treat you for an injury, or Tara, or Bobby, or one of the PTs there, compared to the time it would take someone else. I mean, I'm talking about like this injury would have been probably months, like a month and a half. I probably would have been out of training for 6 weeks.
Wow.
I was back in the gym 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it because honestly, I couldn't get out of bed.
Yeah.
And then a week later, she's like, "Yeah, you can start training.
Yeah.
You start light, see how you feel." I'm like, "You serious?" She's like, "Yeah, I think your back's coming along really well." Yeah. I mean, and I was getting treatments twice a day. I mean, you can't do that anywhere else. You know what I mean?
You answered one of my questions that I was going to ask. I was going to ask, like for me, I've had a lot of back problems my whole life as well. And if I used to slip a disc as well, it would take me months sometimes. And I was going to say, how do you guys, you UFC mixed martial arts athletes, get over these injuries so quickly? But you just mentioned it. It's because of the amazing staff that you have at the PI that help you through that.
Yeah. And, you know, and even if you're not there, they'll give you a consult over the phone. They'll communicate with your doctors from afar. You know what I mean? Like, they really care. I mean, Heather is like literally like, she'll be treating you. She'll be answering emails. You know, so-and-so hurt this. And she's like, I want to see the MRI results. This is what he should be doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they work hard. I mean, it's a tireless job.
Yep.
And like those guys work crazy hard. You know, some of the hardest working people in the UFC, I would say, are the physical therapists.
Yeah, yeah. So, you've had a couple of injuries. When I was doing some research for the other day, when you popped out your knee, compared to like a back injury, is a knee injury take a little bit longer than that? Like, because you've had a couple, right? You've hurt your shoulder as well. I
had
mean,
a
you're a
lot.
warrior, mate.
I've had a lot. This is a dangerous game.
Oh,
You know,
it is.
nobody gets out of this unscathed. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the injuries that people hear about, I mean, there's a million. You know what I mean? Guys would fight so much more if they weren't hurt. You know, like people think that it's like, oh, this guy's taking a 2-year layoff. What's he doing? You know what I mean? Like he's probably hurt. He
Yeah.
just hasn't told anyone about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
He probably did something. He just hasn't told him. He probably had a surgery. You know what I mean? Some guys like the attention, like, hey, I hurt myself. Feel bad for me. And this is what happened.
Right.
You know, other guys are super low key about it and they act like nothing's wrong. They're just not in the cage. You know, for me, I've done it all, dude. I mean, my back, my shoulder, both my knees, my ACL. You know what I mean? Like I've done it all. I mean, so that alone, you know, honestly though, I think that's part of why I'm so competitive as an athlete. You know what I mean? Because every single time I hurt myself, all I want to do is get better and compete.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like that keeps that like constant hunger. You know, I can't wait to get back.
Do you think
know?
mindset's a huge part of that as well?
Oh yeah, you got to be tough. You got to be tough because I mean, this sport, especially like before you're in the UFC and before anybody cares, it's hard, dude, and it's dark and it's lonely, and like you're gonna deal with an injury, and you're not gonna have any money. You're not gonna have the PI or the facility,
Right.
you know, and you're gonna have to do that and figure it out on your own, and that's really where it's hard.
Right.
You know, now I get hurt. I've got world-class people taking care of me. It's a
Right.
completely different thing. You know what I mean? So it's good to remember, you know, how hard it was compared to what it is now.
Because I was once again doing a bit of research on you, and is it true that you had your first boxing bout or your first mixed martial arts bout at 18 in a strip club?
Yeah, that's true.
And is that
That's
there
true.
wasn't strippers there at the time, though, was there?
Oh yeah, there was.
There was.
There was strippers in between rounds, dude. In between rounds. So it's like pull, cage in the middle.
Wow.
Literally.
Yeah.
So like I'm 18. I've never been to a strip club. I walk into this place.
Who are you
and I'm
with?
just like, what the hell? My dad.
Are you?
I'm there with my dad. And my dad is like, so I grew up on the west side of Michigan. It's like 2.5 hours away from where this place is. And we get there and he's just like, what the hell is going on? You
You're
know what I
right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
like this is his kid. And like, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to get in a fight with some like tattooed up biker dude that's like 30 years old. And I'm 18 years old. I got long hair.
You had long hair?
I'm a long-haired pretty boy. He's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? And I mean, I'd boxed and wrestled and stuff.
Is that all you've done? Is boxing and wrestling?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so okay. So your first mixed martial arts fight, you're in a strip
I don't
club.
even know the rules. I don't know the rules. I don't know how this is. I've watched a couple fights, you know what I mean? But
So
I don't
you're
know the
talking
rules.
Raw.
Dude, raw. I don't know what's going on. And like the way it happened was like I'm warming up in the back and like literally there's like strippers like doing their thing, taking dudes back for dances, and like I'm like right next to like the back,
dressing room.
yeah, pretty much the back room. And then they're like, okay, you're up, and I'm like, okay, and I
Wow.
just get in the cage and I just clobber this dude. The first shot I hit him with, he just crumbled. And I got on top of him and I started beating the hell out of him. And like the whole time, like the ref, like after the first shot, the ref has got his arms around me, and
Trying to pull you off.
I don't even know. And I'm still trying to beat the hell out of this guy. And the ref like tackles me onto the ground,
Yeah.
you know, and like then I realized like, oh, it's over.
Right,
Like it's
it's
over.
over.
I didn't know.
That was it?
I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. I just blacked out. I was just in a fight, you know, it was like a street fight. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it was in Michigan. You know, there was no athletic commission. People were throwing fights, and
Because pretty tough state, right?
yeah, the people were throwing fights anywhere. You know,
Wow.
I fought in a fairgrounds. Like they had to dust it was like a windy, dusty day. They had to like dust the cage. Like someone had to go in there and sweep the cage off in between rounds and stuff. And I fought, and this was my second or third amateur fight. I fought a professional fighter from Indiana. I can't remember his name.
Did you win that fight?
I did win, but I mean, I got my ass kicked though. The guy was kicking me in the leg. I didn't know what the hell to do. You know, he was like kicking me in the leg, and I'm like, shit, I'm getting kicked in the leg. Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And he was like a true mixed martial artist, and like I really didn't know the rules. I was just signing up for fights, didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that 20 years old times, and I turned pro, and then things got a little more organized, and I knew what was going on then.
So in those times when you were working in the fairgrounds and in these strip clubs, did you think one day I'm going to be in the UFC, or was that not even in your thoughts right then? Were you just doing this for fun and for a competition?
It wasn't until I went 10-0 with 10 finishes.
Wow.
I was just clobbering everybody, taking them down, beating them up, and like. Then it kind of started to like resonate with me. I'm like, dude,
I'm good at this shit.
I'm good at this.
Really?
You know what I mean? I realized I'm like, dude, I could be a fighter. You know what I mean? Like, because you're not sure, you don't know.
Was everyone telling you that as well? Was like your dad and everyone saying, "Fuck man, you should be in the UFC, dude"?
No, man, I was supposed to take over the family business. I was supposed to, run a construction company, and that was my focus. You know what I mean? I was going to school. I was gonna take over the family business, and
so
this is something.
Blue-collar boy from Michigan was going to take over the family business.
Yep. And honestly, it wasn't until, like I said, I had fought a few times, and then I just started really falling in love with it. I was like, dude, I want to, like, Dad, I want to do this. He's like, dude, this is I'm gonna support you no matter what. He's like, but dude, you do understand what you're signing up for, and I'm like, Dad, I like it. I like doing this.
Yeah.
And it just spiraled out of control from there. I met a guy named Darren Cruikshank who was, also he was way ahead of me, but he was a guy that was already professional. He was doing it right. He was training like an animal, and I actually just dropped everything one day and decided I was going to move to Detroit, and I started training with him. I moved in with him, and we had like five guys that all had the same aspirations in one house, and we would train together. Our garage was all matted up, like literally that garage. And we would have coaches, and we'd all pool our money together, and we would have coaches come. Yeah. And then we would teach personals and do all kinds of stuff just to do whatever to make ends meet. And then I would go home and work.
Yeah.
Like I'd do like 3 12-hour shifts, and like back in Michigan, and then I would drive home. Like I would drive at like 4 a.m, get to the other side of the state. I'd work 12 hours. Go to sleep. I do it the same the next day. I do it 3 days in a row, and then the next 4 days I would just train my ass off, and that's what I did for years to make it. Just for the opportunity to do this. You know what I mean? Just for the opportunity to go fight the best guys in the world. I mean, so that's one of the things that I don't think people understand, and that's maybe one of the reasons people don't respect fighters the way they should. The way that the fans, the MMA fan, like says like this guy's a wuss, this guy's this and that. It's like, dude, if you only knew what we had to do just to get here, you know what I mean? Just for the opportunity to lock ourselves in a cage with somebody that wants to kill you for money. Like if you knew what we had to do just to get here, you would have so much respect for, you know what I mean? Like the fighter, you know what I mean?
Well, those keyboard warriors that talk all that, not only could they not physically achieve it, but I don't think mentally they'd be able to achieve it as well. Did you always like fighting even before, like when you were a kid at school? Did you always like to fight? Did you like fighting movies? Did you like watching fights, having fights with your mates?
Yeah. I was a scrappy little kid. I mean, I was little. I was a little buck-toothed kid with fucking long hair. I was a little dork. So I mean, I had to fight. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't the kind of kid that my dad was always big on like. You know what I mean? Like you don't ever let anybody pick on you. You know what I mean? Like my dad's like a hard ass blue collar dude. And I mean like a hard dude. So it was like, I remember one time we were on the bus when we were kids, and like this guy was picking on my brother, and I stood up to him and I was like, listen, like leave my brother alone. And this kid just pummeled me, just kicked my ass on the bus, right? And we're young. I mean, my brother's like 6, I'm maybe 10. I get off the bus, we're both crying. This kid steals my brother's Pokemon cards of all things, right? And we get home and we're bawling. Our dad just got home from work.
You're both bawling?
Oh, we're both crying. We get off the bus, we're both crying. And like I'm all beat up too. Like this kid just like pummeled me. I just went in the fetal position like a little baby. And we're crying and we're telling him the story, and he's sitting there and he never breaks eye contact with me. So I know I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. And he grabs a hold of me and he's like, tomorrow, you get on that bus, you kick that kid's ass. You let him pick on your brother and you let him kick your ass. Like, that doesn't happen. And like, it wasn't like, and I was expecting like a hug, like, hey, are you okay? And then, we go inside and tell our mom, and our mom gives us a hug. You know what I mean? But
Mama's boys.
Yeah. Then we're hanging out with mom the rest of the night. So I did. Next day, I'm terrified, right? I can't even sleep all night.
Yeah.
I get on the bus the next day. I walk up to that kid, like he's sitting down on the bus, and he's like, "What?" And I just start wailing on him, right? And it felt good. I'm like, you know what? This guy kicked my ass yesterday. Like, I'm gonna get him back today, and I did. And of course, I got thrown off the bus. My dad's waiting for me, and he takes me to the store. We go shopping. I hung out with him all day. I went to work. We went and looked at jobs together. So I had like a fun day with Dad after I, obviously wasn't going to school that day. And then I learned like right then, like you don't, you know what I mean? You don't like let people like walk all over you. And like it was from then on, you know what I mean? If somebody had a problem,
that was it.
I addressed it.
I wonder if that kid that you kicked his ass like this day, like now he's older with kids and his friends are like, "Hey, Cody Stamann's on TV." He's like, "Yeah, fuck that guy." I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of those guys, those same kids I had issues with. I grew up in a small town, so everybody knew everybody. You know
So
what I mean?
everyone wants to like hit you up on DMs on Instagram.
Oh yeah,
now.
they're my friends now. They're my buddies now.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, rooting for you, dude."
The thing is that, like, as you said before, like the whole respect thing when it comes to the fans, but they don't realize where you came from. Don't you think that the story always becomes that much sweeter when you've come from like the background where you've come from, Michigan, explained all those places where you fought, to now living in Las Vegas and being in the UFC? It's like that underdog story, the Rocky story, the battler story, as we say in Australia. Do you think that makes you more appreciative of being where you are?
Oh, absolutely.
It does.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I can't, like compared to what my life could have been to what it is, I always think like I never would have had the opportunities and seen the things and traveled to the places and, met the people that I've met, if it wasn't for fighting.
Yep.
I mean, it's completely changed my life and changed who I am as a person. You know what I mean? What do you think changed you as a person? In what, like your personality? Oh, absolutely. I mean, honestly, I'm a lot more level-headed, calm dude since I started doing this.
It's funny. All martial artists are like that.
It sounds crazy. It's just, dude, it's humbling. You know what I mean? Like, people don't see all the ass kickings you got to take. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's years of getting your ass kicked to get good. You know what I mean? Like, everybody... it's like the saying, everybody wants to be a bodybuilder. No one wants to lift these heavy-ass weights. Yeah. When it comes to fighting, everybody wants to be a fighter, but nobody wants to take those
Shout out to Ronnie Coleman, by the way.
Yeah. Ronnie Coleman, the man.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to take the ass kickings that it takes to get there. You know what I mean? And that's what makes you tough, and that's what makes you humble, and that's what makes you appreciate, the little things, the big things, all the things that you get to experience in this game.
Was there any other sport apart from combat sports for you?
Yeah, I played everything growing up, everything. And, I think that attributes to, my competitive nature. I played football, I ran track, I wrestled, I played rugby. I did it all.
Play that rugby clip. You kind of remind me of a rugby player at Rugby League, which is an Australian football. Do you ever follow the rugby league?
Yeah, I like watching rugby. It's fun.
It's definitely one of the hardest sports next to mixed martial arts. I say rugby league is pretty good.
Oh yeah,
and they don't mind letting the fights go. Like in hockey, they kind of let it go a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
So did you watch the fights last weekend? Did you watch Max Holloway's fight?
Oh, dude.
Bro, come on.
Amazing.
What?
How?
Okay, it's funny that you just said how, because I swear to God, my fiance was standing up, looking at the TV, screaming at me, how? And I'm like, I know. How? How?
Can
you answer that?
That guy, Max is good. Max has been good. He's been one of the best forever. But, I think he's coming into his own, you know what I mean? Like, he's got a different level of confidence in himself and in his abilities right now. It's just insane. That's like Max 2.0. That's the best. That looked like one of the best martial artists I've ever seen.
Me too, bro. Me too.
He controlled every exchange. You know what I mean? People are like, well, he get hit with some big shots. I'm like, not really. He saw everything. He saw everything. He knew exactly what was going to happen in that fight. And he was dialed in to throw
700 plus shots,
700 punches. That doesn't happen. Like, people don't do that. You know how many times you got to put yourself in the fire?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to have the confidence to stand in the pocket like that and You know what I mean? To know that you're gonna move and you're gonna have the right reaction every time against a puncher like Calvin Kattar. You know,
And fair props to Calvin Kattar, man. He took a lot of punishment, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he's tough as nails. I mean, and that guy, I mean, he was never out of the fight. I mean, that whole fight, I was thinking like, it just takes one shot because this guy hits like a truck. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I work with Jimmy Gifford, and Jimmy works with Calvin, and he's like, dude, Calvin, we're texting back and forth during the fight, and he's like, dude, it just takes one. Like Calvin hits hard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's got to come forward. And he's like, how?
How?
And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I mean, Calvin's only shot was to just bite down on the mouth guard and just hope that he could catch him in one of those exchanges because Max was just
dude,
on fire.
My animals were fucking all hiding under the couch because I was literally standing up and screaming at the TV. This is the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I love this sport so much, and it was definitely could be fight of the year. That's so early in the year to be fight of the year. I know it's a hard call.
I don't know how it couldn't be. I mean, it's definitely going to be up there unless we have another insane. There's no one's going to throw 700 punches again. I know that. Like I don't even know. I mean, even the guys guys like Kobe Covington, they don't put up numbers like that.
No.
You know what I mean? You're talking about and against Calvin Kattar too. You know what I mean? Like against a guy that literally can take a shot and then send one back that will put your lights out at any time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to be supremely confident in your abilities to get out of the way. And like I said, he saw everything.
And just see Max
every
looking at the commentators throwing punches, missing, dodging, and then still connecting.
Yeah, telling him I'm the best boxer in the UFC. I'm like, buddy, we believe you.
Man,
we believe you.
Well, then speaking of Colby Covington, he just got called out by Michael Chiesa after his win the other night.
Wonder if that happens.
Whenever that happens,
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, Kobe Covington. Who knows? I mean, I think he'll hold out, but I don't know. That'd be a good fight.
Yeah.
Kobe's good, man.
No, Colby's unbelievable.
Kobe's good. I mean, he's got his whole stick, and a lot of people hate him for it, but ultimately,
Do you believe in sticks, or do you just like to be your own man, just like yourself?
Yeah, I feel like at some point you kind of gotta have something, right?
Yeah,
you gotta have some kind of persona.
Yeah.
And Kobe Covington is not like that. You know what I mean? Like when
it's
the
like Henry
cameras are
Cejudo's
off,
not like that either, is he? Or is he?
Yeah. He's a fucking weirdo. He is a weird dude.
Really?
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
Would you like to fight him?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a weird. He's like one of those guys. I think he just he's socially awkward. He makes everybody a little uncomfortable when he's around.
Okay, let's name out a couple other names. Cody Garbrandt,
Cool dude.
great guy.
Yeah, good
Great
dude.
fighter.
Good dude. And I don't think there's a stick there.
No.
He's just a mean little bastard.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Okay, what about Sean O'Malley?
Oh man, I don't even know what to say about that guy. I mean, the fact that he's as famous as he is for, you know what I mean?
Smoking weed and
fights that
fighting. And
the fights that he's had.
why is that, though? Why do you think that is?
Props to him.
Why is he so
dude,
famous?
It's just a, you know what I mean? Like, well, he got, he got that knockout in Dana White's Contender Series.
Yeah, which
so
was
he
great.
instantly gets plugged in the UFC marketing team. You know what I mean? Like, they want to boost this guy up, So a lot of his fame comes from having the biggest martial arts organization in the world backing him. You know what I mean? Like they're pulling for the guy, and he's getting favorable matchups that they know he's supposed to win. You know what I mean? Until he meets Cheetah Vera, who is known for being just a tough, raw dude.
Who also gets his hair cut at Elliott & Co.
Yeah, he does. And like Cheeto's really, really tough, but Cheeto's not the cream of the crop, so to speak. You know what I mean? So Cheeto goes out there and takes the dude out with leg kicks. I mean, at that point, I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear Sean O'Malley's name again.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm like, this guy, he doesn't have it. He's not a dog. You know what I mean? He's not a dog. He's obviously famous. He's obviously talented. I like what he does in the cage. I respect him as an athlete, but he's not ready for the top 15 at Bantamweight. I mean, everyone at Bantamweight. I mean, my coach and I were sitting down and looking at
a lot of studs in that division.
Dude, we were looking at like possible matchups, and there's not a guy that you can fight in the top 15.
Right.
or the top 25 that you're like,
Yeah.
that's a good matchup. That's a, you know what I mean? Like that's a quote unquote easy fight or a very winnable fight. I mean, obviously you think you can beat anybody, but you're looking at these guys and you're talking about hardened veterans that are good everywhere. You know what I mean? It's not like you got a guy that like, yeah, he's a good boxer, but he can't grapple. You know what I mean? Like everybody can do everything and everybody's battle tested. And, you know, they've won big fights. They've been in big fights. It's insane. I mean, I think it's the deepest division in the UFC.
Yeah.
Obviously, not the most popular. If you're talking about popularity, you got to go to lightweight. You know what I mean? That's where all the real big names are. But, I mean, as far as, like, the talent level at Bantamweight, it's insane.
And then
It's insane.
TJ Dillashaw, is he going to be coming back this year?
I heard, yeah, he's coming back.
Do you think that'd be good to match him up with Cody Garbrandt again?
No.
No, you don't think
No,
so?
I don't. Not Garbrandt. No, I think TJ's got to fight somebody else first. I don't know who. I think they might have him fight Jose Aldo. If I had to guess,
Yeah.
if I had to guess, it'd be Jose.
Yeah.
But because this is two big names, big fight.
Yep.
Good fight for TJ, man. But dude, my thing with TJ is like, TJ's got to come clean about everything.
Hasn't he come clean yet?
Yeah, I mean, he came clean when
Ish.
he got popped, right? He gets popped, and he's like, "Yeah, I did this. I'm sorry. I feel horrible about it." You know, he played like the victim game. I messed up. Poor me. But TJ has been taking steroids and HGH his entire career. You know what I mean? Like the guys at Alpha Male, like I'm friends with these guys. Like they talk, you know, and everybody knows. Everybody knows the truth. Everybody knows that TJ's been doing this forever. Like he just finally got busted.
Right.
Because, you know, like the doctors and shit he worked with, obviously they didn't, you know what I mean? Like USADA can show up whenever,
Yeah.
you know, and they caught him at a bad time. And
Right.
that was just it. That was just the first time he got caught.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's being honest with himself, like TJ knows he's been taking this stuff forever. He's been doping through the entire UFC. I mean, he's been doping since the beginning of his career. So, I mean, this guy, it's hard to respect him, you know what I mean? Like you have respect for him, but I've known about this. Like this didn't, you know what I mean? It was just a matter of time before he got caught. Like everybody knew on the inside that TJ was yoked out of his mind. You know what I mean? He was taking everything. You know, the guy's walking around shredded out of like every single day, all the time. You know, and he's beating guys in the 5th round. You know, where other guys are starting to wilt. You know, he's putting a pace on them. Like you want to say that's hard work, but it's not, you know what I mean? Like he's got some shit he's got to come clean about before I ever respect him.
Yeah. So do you think if he came out and just admitted, hey, yeah, look, fuck it, I've been doing it for a long time. I'm going to change my life now. I'm going to go clean. Would that make a difference?
Yeah, but
It
I
would.
think
Good.
So you get caught robbing a bank. You get to keep the money? No, you don't. You got to give it back, right?
Yeah.
I think TJ's got to give his. You know what I mean? He's got to give that money back. He's got to give the money to the people that deserve it. You know
I've
what I
heard
mean?
that before.
If you're cheating, if you're cheating, you get caught. You shouldn't be getting paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So obviously that's not going to happen. That's
Yeah.
unrealistic thing to say. But at the same time, like that's the only thing that can make it right. You know what I mean? And for the rest of us that are just out here, you know what I mean?
Grinding away naturally.
And just doing it the right way. You know, it's a slap in the face. You know what I mean? Like, I got to be sore. I have to be, you know, beat up and banged up. And, you know, TJ, you know, when you take steroids and you take HGH and EPO, like, your body recovers 3 times as fast. You know what I mean? So it's not just TJ can do more work than we can because he's recovering at a rate that triples what, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need the rest that I need.
Cheating.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's not even... Like, you know, the fact that he gets so much attention, it's literally a smack in the face for all the guys that are just out here grinding, doing shit the right way, and you know, trying to be honest about, you know, their abilities.
Yeah, yeah. Big fights this weekend. Huge big fights. Michael Chandler coming in from obviously from the lower leagues, stepping into the UFC. A little bit of pressure on him. Great fighter. Dan Hooker, the Kiwi. What's your favorite in that? How do you think that's going to go?
Man, I mean, so Michael Chandler, that boy packs a punch. You know what I mean? Like, he hits hard. He hits real hard. Do I think that the level of guys he was fighting in Bellator is comparable to the level of guys that he's going to fight in the UFC? No, I don't think so at all. Yeah. I don't think he's fought. You know, the UFC, you were talking about the cream of the crop here. You know what I mean? Like, he was the He was the number one in Bellator, but let's be honest.
More added pressure when you get to the UFC, right?
Yeah, let's be honest. The UFC is king. You know what I mean? That's where all the big dogs are.
Yep.
So I think Chandler will do good. I mean, Dan Hooker, the thing for me is I think Dan is better. I think Dan's going to be better on his feet. I think he's longer. I think he's going to be able to avoid those big shots. You know, but Chandler's dangerous. He's dangerous because he's got a bomb in his right hand and he can land it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, his wrestling's really good.
Right.
And I don't know that Dan Hooker can compete with him in a wrestling match. You know what I mean? Like, it's that age-old thing. You know what I mean? Conor versus Khabib. Like, yeah, obviously Conor's a way better striker. You know what I mean? He should be able to put him out. You know what I mean? He should be able to put Khabib out. But if Khabib is looking for a takedown the whole time, it's hard to land that big shot against a guy, you know what I mean? Because you got to plant your feet and let one go.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that against someone that's going to shoot on you. And I think Michael Chandler's best way to win is going to be to take Dan Hooker down. And I think he could do it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, speaking of Conor McGregor, obviously the main event coming up for this weekend, Dustin Poirier. They did it 6 years ago. I love both fighters. They've both come a long way in the last 6 years. Conor said he's going to put him out of there within 60 seconds if he can withstand the shots. Otherwise, he'd like it go for a little bit longer. Well, what's your opinion on that? And how do you think both those fighters have changed?
I mean, obviously they've both gotten better, right? You're talking about Dustin Poirier. He battles back. I mean, that's one of the toughest dudes on the planet, period.
Yep.
And a great dude.
Agreed. And a great dude, too.
Great dude. I mean, it's hard for me to say anything bad about Dustin Poirier just because of the amount of respect I have for him as an athlete. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? As a man, like, his story is unbelievable. I mean, he's a role model for all of us. You know what I mean? Like, he's the man. Then you got Conor McGregor, in my opinion, is the best to ever do it. You know what I mean? Like, Conor is the man. Like, Conor's the man. Yeah. Conor's the guy that everybody wants to be. You know what I mean? And you take away the Floyd Mayweather fight. You take away all the shit talk. You know what I mean? Maybe Conor never opens his mouth. Maybe he's mute. Maybe he can't even talk. He can fight. Conor can fight. Conor is insane, and people don't understand that the way he moves in and out and the way he controls distance, you know what I mean? To layman, like, to everyone else, they're just seeing Conor just land a big shot. They're not seeing the traps and the intelligence that Conor has. You know what I mean? The positioning, where he's putting himself. And to watch him fight is a true thing of beauty because this guy is a sniper. You know what I mean? Like, he's amazing. Like, he knows what you're going to do before you do it. And he puts himself in the right positions. And with that being said, Conor has been known, you know what I mean, to fade later in rounds. And you got a guy in Dustin Poirier who is literally like one of the toughest bastards on the planet. So, I mean, in my eyes, if Dustin can make it out of the first round, I think we're going to have an insane fight. I think it's going to be an absolute banger, the same way it was with, you know, Nate Diaz or somebody. You know what I mean? You're talking about two guys that can really, really scrap. Because
and that's a big if.
Conor hits like a truck, you know what I mean? And he's so dead accurate. And same thing, Jimmy Gifford. We were talking about Conor, and he was saying, you know, because Jimmy worked with Conor years and years ago. You know, every time he was coming to Vegas, they were working out together. And he was saying that, like, does Conor hit crazy hard? He hits hard, yeah. But, like, is he blowing your shoulder off every time he lands a punch? No. Is like his speed insane? No, it's not that. It's not a speed thing. It's an accuracy thing. It's like when you hold the mid up, Conor bangs it every time. The second it comes up, boom, it's there. You know what I mean? There's no wind up. It's a perfect delivery, and the timing and everything that he does it's precision. You know what I mean? He's not a brawler. This guy is a sniper. Like, he is literally putting that shot right on the button every single time, like, consistently every time. And, you know, he was saying that one thing that was different about Conor compared to everybody else is Conor would work the same thing for an hour. He would just do the same thing you hear about, like Mike Tyson, like sitting in the mirror for an hour practicing the same punch, just winding up, throwing it, winding up, throwing it, winding up, throwing it. And that's the reps. You know what I mean? You know, it's the reps. It's how you really, really get good at one thing. And they're saying like Conor would work one thing for an hour straight. You know what I mean? And he would just want it to be perfect every single time.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he got it perfect, he wanted to do it a million more times. And that was the difference between Conor McGregor and everybody else, is that he was insanely accurate and that he would do the same thing. He wanted to do the same thing over and over and over again. And you see it in his fights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like that people don't know what he's going to do. You know what I mean? Like, you've watched his fights. He's going to land a bomb straight left hand. It's coming straight down the pipe. It's coming fast. And it's coming to target. Like, he's not going to miss. You know what I mean? The guy doesn't miss. And then, you know, everything else I think is just, it's just flash. It's something else to get you thinking of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're watching his leg, you're watching his other hand, you're watching this, and then all suddenly, boom.
Do you think psychologically Conor has an advantage over Dustin just because he previously had KO'd him in such a really, really easily quick fashion? The punch that did knock Dustin out was just a little tap behind the back of the ear. Well, it looked like a little tap. Obviously, it wasn't. Then followed by the ground and pound. Do you think there's a psychological disadvantage when you've been knocked out by a man that you have to face again?
For everybody else, I'd say yeah. For Dustin Poirier, no.
Really?
I
Wow,
don't think
good
Dustin
answer.
Poirier's a tough bat. I don't think he gives two shits. You know, I really don't think he cares. I just think Dustin, like, that guy wants to get in a fight, and he's not. I mean, watch him fight. I mean, I've seen him just stand in the pocket.
Yeah.
And like I know for a fact he sees a punch coming, and he doesn't give a shit. You know what I mean? That here comes the shot, and Justin takes it and he sends 3 back. You know what I mean? Like, he's a different kind of. He's an animal. You know,
It's
it's a
that
different
sixth sense, eh?
different kind of fighter. Different kind of fighter for sure. Yeah. And if he can make that gritty fight with Conor, I mean, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Do I think he can? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you know what?
Maybe late he could.
Yeah.
But definitely not early.
Takes a lot of balls to jump in the octagon with Conor McGregor.
Yeah, you can't take those shots from Conor. I mean, Conor said it. He's like, he can take shots from other guys, right? He can eat shots from this guy, that guy, that guy.
Yeah.
Nobody takes my shots.
No, that's
And
right. Well, one
believe
of
'em.
our amazing affiliates here at the podcast is Proper 12 Irish Whiskey, the #1 whiskey on the planet. The boys always send me over a couple of cases, and this is always tradition here at the What Happens Here podcast. I know that you can't drink this now because I know you do have a fight coming up in a couple of weeks. But Conor and the boys send me this whiskey, and I get to give it to all my guests that come on. So this is the
thank
traditional
you.
the passing of the proper. So when you finish your fight,
Thank you, man. I actually do love this stuff.
you do like it?
I do like it. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really good,
Yeah,
isn't it? It's really good.
whiskey.
So
it's really good whiskey.
That one's for you, mate. Enjoy that one. So
Thank
let's
you.
talk about your fight coming up 2 weeks' time. You're coming to the end of your fight camp. Your weight's on point. Anything about your opponent that concerns you? I mean, I know he's like 5'11". He's got a little bit of a few inches. Does that bother you at all? Height means-
I mean, we were watching that highlight, and I fought a guy same size,
Yep.
Tyrion Ware,
Yeah.
real long, tall.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, at first it's hard. You know what I mean? With those real tall guys, it's hard. You got to kind of work your way inside, and you got to be careful because, you know, he can hit me way before I can hit him. But I look at this fight like Andre has got to keep me away from him for 15 minutes. 15 minutes he's got to keep me away from him. Because the second I break that gap, he's fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality. Like, as soon as I get on the inside, I can land hard shots. I can take him down. I can do whatever the hell I want.
Yep.
And once I figure out how to get inside one time, like, you just open the door.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I'm doing it
absolutely.
again and again and again and again and again. And, you know, I don't know much about the guy. I mean, he could be a great dude.
Yep.
That doesn't make any difference. I got to beat the hell out of him. That's my job.
Yeah.
And I
can
plan
see the
to.
conviction in your eyes, man. You're just
I
like,
plan
this-
to. I
I
plan
can
to.
see it.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna fight Merab, and like that's a guy that literally no one wants to fight, right? That's a guy nobody wants to fight, and his name comes across the table, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
and they're like, really? Like, because everyone says no to this guy because his wrestling is so good, and he's so tenacious. You know what I mean? He's fighting a wild animal. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I've been preparing for that. You know what I mean? With, like you said, conviction. Like, I am gonna beat this.
No, I can see
motherfucker.
it. I can see it.
I wanted that test. I wanted to fight a guy that nobody wants to fight. You know what I mean? I've had that so many times.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my UFC career, fighting guys that, you know what I mean, are studs knocking everybody out, and they're like, hey, do you want to fight this guy? No one else will. I'm like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, so it was Merab, and now it's Andre, and it doesn't make much difference. You know, everything's the same for me. You know what I mean? It's different game plan, obviously, different strategy to win, different way to win, but you know, the outcome will be the same.
Is that going to be in Las Vegas?
Yeah, it's here.
The Marab fight, was that in Fight Island?
No, it's here too.
That was here. Okay, so UFC 250 was in UFC 250 when you fought Brian Kelleher. That was in Abu Dhabi, was it?
That was here.
That was here in Vegas as well.
Dude, it's so nice to fight here.
I get those mixed up. I don't know why, but anyway. So 250. What a great fight that was.
Yeah, Kelleher. Yeah, it was
Really great fight.
Yeah, crazy fight. He's tough, man. That guy hits hard. Well, I couldn't see. I was like, you bastard.
Oh, really? So it was
Yeah.
an intentional eye poke, you think?
No, it wasn't intentional, but
Yeah.
I mean, he knew he did it. You know what I mean? Like, you can feel when you poke
Yeah.
somebody in the eye.
Right.
And he tried taking advantage of it. And I was like, you mother.
Yeah.
He's like, give me a second, dude. You know you just poked me in the eye.
Yeah, man. I was watching that fight the other day. I watched it back a couple of times, and it was great. It was great to watch the fight. It was a little tough to watch the interview afterwards. I'm not going to lie. It was very tough, and I didn't know whether I could bring that up or not. I've kind of experienced something a little similar to that. And when I was watching that interview afterwards, not only did it make me cry, but it also made me understand how tough you really. I mean, you are a tough man, obviously, but that made you even that much more tougher. Obviously, having to go through something like that, how do you get your mind to push aside a life-changing event like that to continue with your job?
So, I mean, honestly, it sounds crazy, but I kind of look to like other athletes who have dealt with that. And I went to Daniel Cormier because Daniel Cormier lost someone really close to him before he had a really big fight. And his advice to me was he's like, listen, this is horrible. I'm sorry, but you have a competition ahead of you. You have to put this out of your mind and focus on that. And then once the competition is over, you can address this with your family, and you can do this and you can do that. And that's what I did. You know what I mean? Like, as hard as it was, obviously, you know, I'll lose my brother a week before I'm going to fight. It's hard to put that out of your mind.
Right.
I mean, it's nearly.
You'll never put it out of your mind, right?
You can't. It's nearly impossible. You know what I mean? But when it came time to do what I had to do, you know what I mean? I was laser focused, and that was it. You know what I mean? Like, I put it out. I suppressed all those emotions. I suppressed all those feelings. I just told my family, I'm like, listen, I'm sorry. I have to do this.
Yeah.
And when it's over, I'll come home. We'll address it. We'll all address it together. I told my brother, who was supposed to come out for the fight, I was like, stay home with the family, just because I can't do it right now.
Yeah.
You know, I just physically, like, once I see you, I know I'm just going to be a mess. And you know, that happens. You know, I fight, and then the second the fight's over, it's like
It just hit that.
it just hit me.
Hit you,
It just hit me. You know, I'm not the crying type of guy. I'm not the guy that wants the attention for something like that. I just couldn't hold it in anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it was almost like the fight was nearing the end.
So the fight was suppressing your grief.
Yeah, well, it was. And then, like, as the fight's almost over, like maybe a minute before the fight is over, I start, like, I'm thinking about it in my head. You know what I mean? Like, I know I won the fight. I know I fought well, and now I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I want this to be over, and I want to go address the things that I need to address. And then, you know, once the fight was over, it was a mess. I was an absolute mess. And, you know, and it's not like when you try to do something like that and you try to really, really suppress emotions like that, it comes out. You can't. You know what I mean? You got to address those things. You can't hide from the realities of life. You know what I mean? And I go home, I deal with all that stuff, and
Which is the worst thing to deal with. I know.
Yeah,
it's
so hard. You know what I mean? Like, you want to fight that you've been training for months, but there's this dark looming thing that happened. You know, so you can't really celebrate it. You can't really. It's hard to be like happy. You know, and you know, at that point, you know, I go home and I just want to be, you know, strong for my family. So I do that. You know, I'm home for 2 weeks and I'm still trying to, you know, kind of hold it together. And then I come back here, and you know, that's when it really hits you, is when you're alone, when you're away from everyone. And you know, that's kind of when I fell apart. You know,
Yeah.
it's when as soon as I was, you know, by myself alone with the realities of what was happening. That was when it was hard for me. I mean, that was when it was hard, and you know, and then I get a phone call. They're like, "Hey, you want to fight? We want to fight Frankie Edgar," and I'm like, "I know I'm not ready. I know I'm not. You know what I mean? I'm not in a good place mentally." But at that time, it was like, I just want something
to do
else,
to take your mind off it.
something
Yeah.
else. You know what I mean? Something else to put my mind on. And then Frankie says no, and then they asked me about Jimmy Rivera, and I've already kind of decided that I was going to do it, and I do it, and I go out there, and my performance is shit. You know what I mean? And rightly so. I go out there unprepared against one of the best guys in the world, and you know, I'm not in a place. You know what I mean? I just thought I could just pull it all together again, but the reality is like, the damage had been done. You know what I mean? Like, and I go out there and I have a crap fight. It's a close fight, but still a fight that, you know, with a sound mind and if I was in shape, you know what I mean? I know I can win. I can normally win. I just thought I could go to, you know, those places again and make it happen. And, you know, like and like you're talking about 2 losses, the loss of someone in your family and then losing a fight. And, you know what I mean? Like that alone, I believe, will be the reason that I am propelled to higher levels in this sport and in my life and as a man, because, dude, that's some dark shit I had to go through. You know what I mean? And then I dealt with it, and now I'm here. You know what I mean? Now I'm here, and now, you know, I feel like there's nothing out there. There's nothing. I'm not scared of anything. You know what I mean? At this point in my career, and this point in my life, like, what?
Yeah.
What can
you have felt the ultimate pain.
Yeah. What can you do to me? You know what I mean?
Can't
like,
do anything.
Yeah. There's nothing else that you know can. I wouldn't say nothing else that can hurt me, because that's not true. But I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've been to those dark places, and I crawled out of it, and I'm here, and I'm.
So when you said those
I'm
dark
ready to
places,
go.
can you elaborate a bit more on that? Like, did you like turn to alcohol? Did you like just get fucked up badly after all that happened?
I mean,
man?
after when I went home, I was drinking a lot. And I'm not normally a drinker. You know what I mean? I'm like a 2-drink guy. Like, I'm a dedicated athlete. You know, but that just hits you something different. Hits you a lot different. And then, you know, the thing that really like bothered me, and it shouldn't have, but in reality it did. It was the people, right? I go beat Brian Callagher, and I'm like, everyone's like, dude, that was inspiring, and that was amazing. You know, I can't believe you did that. You know, to have that performance with the grief that you were dealing with was amazing. And I'm like, I'm grateful. I'm thankful. You know, I'm like, thank you. You know, I don't want to be thanked for this, but you know, thanks for realizing that it was hard for me. And then you fast forward a month. You know what I mean? A month later, I go fight again, and I lose, and I don't look good. You know what I mean? Like, the reality is, I don't look like myself. I'm not fighting well. I'm not fighting really. You know what I mean? I'm just in the cage. You know, I'm not the competitor that I know I am. And then the same people that are like, you're an inspiration, you're great, are like, dude, what the hell? You suck. You know what I mean? And that just messed with me, because I'm like,
it did.
Oh yeah, it just messed with me. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what? You don't understand what the hell I'm going through. Like, and like, I don't know. It at first it made me sad and made me just hateful towards those people. You know what I mean? But then it was like, dude, like, I'm gonna show them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna show them what I can do, what I'm capable of. And like, that's been a driving force for me since then. I mean, I've been an absolute animal in the gym, you know, since then. And, you know, I think I'm hitting levels that I don't think I could have hit had all those things not happened. You know what I mean? And that's the definition of a man. You know what I mean? Like, to be able to deal with the hard shit that happens in life and to be able to come back from it a better man. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to be, and that's what I want to do with, you know, things that happened last year. Not just to me, to everybody. I mean, think about how, like you said, dude, life has been tough for everybody. You know what I mean? Like I said, my family owns a small business. What do you think's happening to small businesses right now? You know what I mean? They're getting shit on. Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard. Last year was a tough year for everybody across the board, and I think it's the people that can endure that are gonna, you know, rise and everybody else is going to kind of sink, you know, but this is kind of a defining moment in everybody's life, not just mine.
It's funny because at the end of the podcast, I kind of like to wrap it up with, you know, with getting my guests to say something on a positive note that can give inspiration to people. But you just said it. But just in closing, first of all, man, thanks for coming on today. I do really appreciate it. I just love Ed Cap and Jason House and Jacob, and they're just all such great guys. And I'm just so happy to be able to get to talk to all these people from Iridium Sports Management. You know, we have a couple of mutual friends with Elliot and Co. So I'm really
Elliot's the man.
Elliot's the man.
I just got my hair cut. Well, Elliot didn't cut it because I didn't want to bug him at night, but I went to Spot Hunters that had Britt cut it. She's awesome too, dude. She's a great barber.
Yeah, no, Elliot's
place.
a good guy, man, and you seem to be surrounded by a lot of great people. I mean, your management company is just Jason House is just such a great family guy, and he told me stories about when he was young and his mother and father used to foster kids, and
my parents did too.
Just such a great circle of people that you're surrounded around. I just want to just say this, you know, what you went through, a lot of people don't come out of it on the other side of it well. If there's somebody out there that's experiencing a loss like you did, your brother, your little brother, and can you just explain to them, or maybe just give them some words of hope that the pain never leaves, right? But you get to deal with it. Could you just elaborate on that?
Yeah. Listen, I mean, the best thing you can do after you lose somebody is to live your life better for them, right? I mean, you have to be better. You know what I mean? They don't get another shot at it. You know what I mean? So you need to be better. And that was my goal from the beginning. You know what I mean? So I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be a better man. You know what I mean? And I was forced to be. You know, and like that's the goal. I thought about all the good times and just focused on the positive things. You know what I mean? I took all the lumps and I just made them fuel to move me forward and to propel me further. Instead of, you know, dwelling on them. And you know, the first thing you got to do is realize that this is the reality, that this is happening. And then, you know what I mean? It's like, what can I do from here to better myself? What can I do to live my life better for that person? And I believe, you know, if you do that and you focus on all the good things you can do and all the positive things that can come out of a bad situation, like not only are you going to be stronger, but you know what I mean? You're going to be more appreciative of everything in your life. And that those are my only words of wisdom.
Yeah, and great words of wisdom. Best of luck for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I'll be watching.
I'm excited.
I'm going to put some money on it.
Bet the house.
I will. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast. I do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, listening around the world, UFC warrior, Cody Stamann. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.